on that champion, and Fizz going to be removed from Sharp as well. Echo quickly to follow, and we'll see whether that's towards Choo-Choo's and Carbon possibly further down here, but I could imagine, you know, Carbon would have picked that one up.
Definitely would have picked that one up. Echo jungle is super strong right now. Most likely not going to see any banner of commands now that the Rise has been taken away. Bard the last ban, of course, taking that one away from Ju. He is a phenomenal Bard.
He is so good at that champion. Twisted Fate. I want to talk about the fact that this one's been banned away as well, because Perfection, he plays a fantastic Twisted Fate, doesn't care about his lane. That's something that we spoke about. But Choo-Choo's sort of one of the mid laners here in OCE that doesn't play Twisted Fate.
He doesn't play Twisted Fate, but Perfection, being essentially the Twisted Fate main, loves that champion, has been banned away from him every time except once. He played that and they won the game quite easily. So smartly banning that Twisted Fate away again. They found themselves with the first pick, though.
Yeah, Kalista going to be instantly locked in here for King. If King's looking to make some plays, he's definitely able to do so on that Kalista, and he can really allow Chippies to get in amongst it, go back to his top lane roots, really starting these fights on these engaged support champions if he wants to, now with the added bonus of having the Fates call at his disposal. Yeah,
and the best part is you don't even need to be an aggressive support, because Sharp or King will make you one with that Fates call as well. So options to play whatever he would like here as response, and the fact that King got Kalista does raise some eyebrows as to how he managed to get that one through the ban phase, and a very, very strong Kalista player.
He most certainly is, but I mean, we're talking about really strong picks. Legacy have instantly locked in that Nunu Azir, and we've recently spent a fair bit of time going over the fact that this combination is pretty strong. It remains strong, ladies and gentlemen, over the last few minutes.
Yeah, it hasn't really changed in the past couple of minutes. It's safe to say that it's still a very strong combo, and as we mentioned before, the fact that you can get the Nunu and Azir in the first rotation allows you to open up your champion pool to a hyper carry in the AD role, or just to rely on the Choo-Choo's on that Azir and to just do some serious work.
Yeah, and we've seen Choo-Choo's, even in games that Legacy have lost, really do fantastic things on that Azir. He knows his way about that champion so well. We'll see what they decide to lock in here. I would be super surprised if they didn't go for a Thresh, just because of the power of a Kalista Thresh lane and the fact that Flying Ju was known for his Thresh plays.
And the fact that the Bard is banned also gives him another option, essentially. But we have a look at the Direwolves side here. They have locked in that Rek'Sai in the Rumble. They've taken the Rumble away from any chance of Minky getting it. It seems like Sharp wants to go for that one, ideally above all else.
Yeah, definitely wants to focus that one through. I think something's gone wrong, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be getting into Champion Select again very, very shortly, but some really exciting picks, and there's been a lot of things sneaking through the draft. There's just so many champions that need to be banned away from so many of these players.
Definitely. The Nunu Azir in particular. We've seen Choo-Choo's play a fair bit of Azir, and even in losing games, performs exceptionally well. Carries his team through as far as he can. And then Kalista for King as well. How did that one get through?
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea, because the last time we saw him play Kalista, that was a ridiculous game.
It was absolutely filthy. The Dial was really running away with it out of control. But then locking in immediately afterwards the Rek'Sai and the Rumble, really opting for some extra early game power and create sort of picks around the map, get things moving early. Is this the right response against the Nunu Azir that came through?
It's definitely a warranted response. Of course, Rek'Sai being able to perform all stages of the game, but having an early pressure advantage. Nunu, a lot more control-oriented, and not a surprise that Carbon picked that one up, of course. It's available. He's going to pick it. He said it himself. But we have a look at the Rek'Sai in response. It has very good vision zone control and the early pressure, the capabilities of ganks, and the unique pathing akin to Shaco almost in the way that you can get around the map. It just unlocks your potential by that little bit extra.
Yeah, and your global mobility as well. You can really get yourself into a whole lot of different positions. And we know Sybil is this player that really wants to get around the map, get himself into the right positions. Of course, was a Rengar player, super aggressive, gets a whole lot of things done no matter what stage of the game it is. But as long as he can be aggressive, he's going to be happy. And I really like the response, just considering the fact that, you know, Carbon, of course, is going to go into that Nunu. Let's get on some early power. Let's make sure that he's not going to get all the control that he tries to so hard in the early game.
Yeah, and we talk about the Direwolves and we think of the fact that they do like to skirmish. So getting that early game strength and early game pressure that can translate that to a big goal lead plays into their favor in terms of drafting super well. Legacy, they do love to get to the late game themselves, though. They've struggled a little bit in the early stages. So it'll be very interesting to see when these two actually clash. The champions that we've seen alone already favor each other's strengths, but how they utilize those champion strengths to actually give themselves a lead will be exceptionally interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, especially considering the fact, like you mentioned, that they're both sitting on sort of comfort picks that play so differently on either sides of the rift.
Yeah, Definitely. The Azir, more late game, of course, scales super well with that first item, but having the Nunu Blood Boil opens up a whole new world of possibilities. And then you have a look at the side of Direwolves. The early pressure always relevant. Their scaling still definitely there. And just the raw damage that they've got now onto King. They've got the availability of picking whatever they would like for perfection from here on out. And the rest of the team being able to support as we see the Rumble and the Rek'Sai, of course. It's a very strong start of a draft.
Yeah, but one thing I do want to mention is the fact that Tallywhacker, he's got on the Sivir, and Flying Jew, of course, locked away the Thresh. I love this one. Of course, Choo-Choo's did pick it up for him, but it is going to be in that support role, and Chippy's hovering the Aurelia saying, yes, I was a top laner. I really want to play it, but that is not going to be
Should
a
have
big
banned Aurelia. That's what he's saying right there. But you're right. The Legacy team have picked up Sivir and Thresh, and we questioned whether they were going to go all in for that scaling damage with the Azir Nunu and maybe get a Jinx to boot to just give that extra possibility for who Nunu opted into Blood Boiling. Instead, they've gone for the Sivir, a bit more early pressure, a bit more mid-game strength with that on the hunt. And Thresh. Need we even say what Thresh does? We've seen what Thresh does tonight.
Yeah, we certainly have. T-Gun has given us the entire run-through of the capabilities of that champion. And look, I might have nightmares later on about it because he was landing hooks left, right, and center. I want to talk about these last two picks, though. King and Chippies have locked away Varus and Morgana. We're going to see perfections on a poke champion that can do disgusting things. And Choo-Choo's knows exactly what that champion's capable of.
Choo-Choo's has done many bad, nasty things on that Varus, to say the least.
I think it was a 20.0 KDA on that champion. 5, 1, and 15 on Varus in his mid lane performance.
We'll see what perfection can do, of course, compared to that KDA. Choo-Choo's knowing what Varus does might make it a little bit harder for him to really get in there and find that advantage. But a very strong poke champion. Works well around the Rumble, being able to just turn that all into a dive randomly out of nowhere. Works well with the chains, of course, getting people stuck on top of the equalizer. There's a lot of synergy between their top and mid.
Oh my goodness, Rusty. Sharp is right now having some pretty disturbing flashbacks of the gigantic horse that is Minky Well, looking to insert the same amount of fear into him this time around. Of course, so much late game scaling, though, and I guess they do have a little bit of sort of mid-game power that Sivir's going to bring. You don't often rely on an AD carry position for mid-game power, but with that Blood Boil is going to have a whole lot more of an opportunity to get things done. But the late game on this Legacy lineup, I'm already shaking in my boots.
Yeah, the mid-game strength, not necessarily from the raw damage that the Sivir can put out, of course. It's more the utility that the Sivir provides, where most AD carries in that between the 1 and 2 items tend to trough a little bit. They tend to drop off in terms of power. Sivir, always going to be relevant because you can just press R.
Yeah, and you can make people run really fast. And who likes to run fast more than a Hecarim? I don't think anyone. Of course, with that devastating charge, Legacy will be able to start as many fights as they want. But as far as this matchup is concerned, I mean, we know that Nah generally into Hecarim is a good idea. Sharp struggled in that matchup. But now, with the Rumble in his hands, do you think that either of these sides are going to go for any sort of lane swap? And if not, are we going to have a decent 1v1 here for Sharp?
So we're still going to have a decent 1v1, but we know one thing that Minky is really, really good at is laning phase, getting himself with the lead, even in situations where, generally speaking, he probably shouldn't, but he still finds himself with the lead because he's Minky Whale.
And he builds a Banner of Command. Yeah, there's no better item.
Banner of Command, ZZ Rot Portal, it's just that guy right there. Minky Whale can do a lot of work for his team. So in saying that, maybe we'll question a lane swap.
Yeah, well, we'll see whether it is. But ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hop on Twitter. Make sure you're using those hashtags DWWin or LGC win, depending on whether or not you want Direwolves or Legacy to win, respectively, because, of course, this is a massive matchup. Of course, Direwolves looking to try and get revenge for the previous victory of Legacy, but Legacy looking for revenge on the whole first split of the OPL.
Yeah, Legacy wanting to get that win-loss ratio more back in their favor, regardless of how this split has gone. Of course, both teams looking for that win, but Direwolves needing that split win back, so it's at the very least tied, and there is no real advantage besides that win-loss ratio, which is always going to be in their favor. So we have a look at the holistic team comps right here. What are they really trying to do? I would say Direwolves are looking to poke and siege a little bit more, but their raw siege isn't that great. So it's going to come a lot down to vision control, how they can work around making a pick, working around that poke that they have, and most likely even diving.
Yeah, and is it looking more towards neutral objectives rather than towers here for the Direwolves lineup? Because it looks to me like they've got a lot of ability to sort of set up in an area and just tell people to leave.
Definitely. When it comes to Dragon, it'll be very difficult for this Legacy comp to try and contest that. But we'll see what actually happens, because if it's standard lanes, it will be infinitely more difficult for Legacy to respond to the Dragons, just because the teleport from both Rumble, always going to be able to control zone super well and force them away from the Dragon area. You've got the Rek'Sai as well. Very good zone control. even Varus to a degree with the chains and the arrows can force you out of a particular area. So around neutral objectives, definitely. Starts to favor the Direwolves a little bit. But you look at Legacy, they're going to be quite content with fighting anywhere that they would like.
Well, they can also move people around relatively effectively. Death Sentence there is going to be able to displace people quite nicely with the Flay, but I'm talking about the Emperor's Divide. We're talking about Choo Choo's on a comfort pick here, a champion that he's shown fantastic prowess on, and he can just move people about, pick them up, throw them over somewhere else, and just get things done over there.
Yeah, just toss them in the dumpster, just get them out of here.
Basically it.
We'll have a look at Legacy's comp a little bit more holistically again. We've touched on Direwolves, and maybe their sieging isn't great, but their dive is. Legacy's siege is ridiculous. They've got a Sivir and an Azir. When it comes to taking down an objective, they take it down pretty quickly. So they're going to be able to control anything if they can get there. But getting past this Direwolves lineup, getting past the Varus and actually getting the siege is hard. And that's why they've got the Sivir ultimate, the Thresh Hook, and the Hecarim.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this lineup and I'm thinking, okay, what does this team want to do? They want to get to a point where Hecarim can't be stopped in a split push situation. They want to wait for that moment. In order to do that, they want to clear out minion waves underneath towers, potentially avoid getting dived by this Direwolves lineup. They have got so much despicable wave clear on the side of Legacy in 2 champions. Of course, Sivir and the Azir both able to destroy a creep wave, and that just facilitates Minky Whale's split push.
They can most likely just sit there, let Minky split, or even cater to the 1-3-1 if Direwolves want to put that into effect. They've got the choice of either Azir or Sivir to go and handle that situation, and then just have the rest of the team sit in mid and farm. They're relatively safe.
Yeah, most definitely. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to throw it back to the caster desk with Pastry Time and Spawn.
Thank you very much, Atlas and Rusty, and welcome back to the desk here. I'm Julian Pastry-Time-Cast, still joined by Jake, Spawn, Tiberi, and a big match here with a big draft starting things off, Spawn.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. Minky Whale got the Hecarim again, so automatically Sharp is, I guess, probably thinking about a lane swap, because we've already seen that Minky in a 1v1 definitely seems to have the better of that matchup. And, something that Direwolves probably want to do is make sure that they isolate Perfection, because I think they will be confident he can win the matchup, especially with the counter pick they're able to get. Varus versus Azir is very heavily in Varus's favor. And then try and get King some form of CS advantage. And 1 versus 0 is a very easy way to do that.
It is, and I think the Direwolves were a team that last split felt very comfortable in their standard lanes, but interestingly enough, in this iteration, are probably much better off in a lane swap.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially because they swapped out Chopper for Chippy. So already we saw the Alistar ban thrown in there. I'm expecting teams to continue to do this to Chippies. All right, you've proven that you can play Alistar. We're going to ban it every time. If he has a second support, I'm expecting 2 bans to be thrown at him, because right now, support is such a playmaking role. You need your support player to be impactful around the Rift, and Chippies, he's shown he can do that on Alistar. Very big credit to him to step into those shoes, but to do it on multiple champions is a very hard ask.
Yeah, and he's new to the role as well here. But usually a top laner, actually played top for the Doves as a sub about 2 weeks ago, but it's been a bit tough for the Wolves recently, and it's been really good for Legacy and their fans, and quite a few of them. If the game phase competition was any indicator, but we are onto the Rift now for our next game here. Legacy versus Direwolves, the battle for outright second place.
Yeah, underway already, and you see Perfection. Oh, starting off the game in style.
Got him.
Got him.
Arrows right in the back. Oh, Ward going there too.
How many arrows that was as well? I can't
hail.
believe the 1 arrow does more damage than the hail of arrows.
That's true, actually. We have seen the Varus Q do quite a lot of damage, and that is what the matchup's going to be. And maybe let's look a little more into the mid lane matchup, as we do see some vision being put down. You mentioned it's a strong counter against Azir. I'm inclined to agree, but maybe explain to the viewers, Spawn, what is it about this matchup that people like?
So the thing about Azir that he does really well is if you're within his auto attack range, he does a lot of persistent damage. A lot of people struggle to counter that. So obviously AD carries are some of the few champions that are able to go auto attack for auto attack. And it's the way that Varus works. He's actually a combo AD carry, which a lot of people don't realize. If you're able to get the 3 autos into a quick fire Q or E, just does a lot of burst damage, and then he has a lockdown ultimate, the long-range snipe that disregards the use of the Azir Sec Wall. Emperor's Divide just does nothing in the matchup. So from longer range, Varus does more damage is pretty much what I'm trying to say.
Yep. We saw a little bit of that kind of in the Xerath Victor matchup in our first game here, so a bit of a similar flavor there in this one.
Well, it's the exact same theory behind running Xerath into Azir when we first brought out Azir and we saw the original iteration. Very much seemed like the Mage of Shurima did a lot more damage than what the King did. We'll have to see if...
I don't know if that's like supposed to line up that way. That seems like a flavor mismatch.
Oh, no, it certainly is. Xerath stole all his power, dude.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Didn't you see? Like,
no, look.
He jumped under the that's why Shurima doesn't exist.
Ah, I see.
Yep.
See, clearly you're amazing at Lauren. I'm not at Chippy's. Level 1 gank here. Juju's needs a binding, forced to cleanse off, but he's ignited. That's going to be a dead at 0, and first blood goes to Morgana.
Yeah, you know, Choo-Choo's held the flash, knew that he was going to fall down, but Wave is pushing in Perfection's favor, which is just going to mean Choose is going to be denied a lot.
And if there's one player that even in a short lane takes advantage of these little things in the lane, it's Perfection.
Yeah, it certainly is. You know, he's out and out. One of the most successful lane swaps, even though I always thought he was a mid laner. He was just playing it on the top lane.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely agree that if anyone can control a wave, it's going to be him.
Yeah, the man's mechanics are just through the roof, and we'll see how he does here on the Varus. Double jungling happening, no Sharp and Sybil teaming up, Minky and Carbon doing the same, and understandably with King in the top side in that lane swap that you mentioned, we're going to jungle vertically to start things
exactly right. And you know, they're all behind the Wraith pit, and Choose is so overextended. I'm surprised I actually didn't go for another sneaky look in.
There's still time.
There definitely is.
Perfection puts out the arrow, going to miss a couple of CS as Choose comes back and pushes that wave under turret. But down the bottom side, Legacy have already started to push in the bottom side. We saw the Chippy's roam do work. Tallywhack has just been pushing instead.
Yeah, just trying to shove as hard as possible with the Nunu. They'll also get the first dragon of the game. But Direwolves, they're trying to grab a turret.
Yeah, Sybil in the top as well. They're going to try and outpush the Sybil, or at least match the early turrets there in the opposite halves of the map. But Legacy, with that Nunu, like you said, going to be very easy for them to take away that dragon. So they'll have to dance around the aggro a bit. Tallywhacker working tirelessly at his effort in the bottom side, trying to take out the turret. Minky getting a little low. They're going to have to juggle this efficiently, but Legacy do secure dragon number 1.
Yeah, so dragon number 1 falls, but it's going to be once again that gold objective for potentially a turret, although it hasn't fallen yet. Chippies, you're going to die.
Yep, don't do it. Oh, last hit goes through. Executed.
All planned.
Oh, I mean, look. Oh, man. That's actually really smart from Minky Whale. He's like, oh, your support got executed. Guess I'm going to save my tower in the top lane.
Yeah, exactly right. Trying to get up there, shove that one back out. He's had a nice shot coming through. Probably won't be able to save the turret, but will get all of the CS.
Going to give it a red hot crack, but King coming in. Solo experience, I guess, is not too bad. King wants the tower. He is going to get it. Not yet.
He probably is not going to get it now.
That's really bad.
Yeah, it certainly is. Wave is going to reset. There are 3 members for Legacy in the bottom lane. They're going to be able to shove this one in nice and hard. They're looking for a dive onto Sharp. Sybil's in the area.
Good hook, though, by Flying Dude. Knows that if he lands, they're getting a kill. Tally still pushing. Sybil's here as well, trying to push things out. They'll be able to clear the wave relatively swiftly, but that tower has no health left.
Yeah, and, you know, all of the advantage that Direwolves were going to be able to get out of this early game evaporates just because of a little bit of miscommunication.
That was a bit awkward there from Chippies again. Great roam to start things off. All right, the guy can play Morgana. Hit the tower a couple too many times with his face. Not going to be a good look, but King will keep pushing through. Minky is forced off towards his Crocs to farm up, and Direwolves are going to get the tower, but it looks like a trade here.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be a trade. So in the end, 1-for-1 turret goes down. Kalista will enter the laning phase a little bit accelerated than what she usually would be. Sivir still doesn't mind the matchup all that much just because she can shove, but in a 1v1 fight, Kalista will come out ahead.
I like that as well. Legacy going to keep the wave here. Ju even looks like he's going to pull it off and try and deny Sharp.
Yeah, so as we see, everyone going back to kind of standard lanes in the top lane. They are trying to make it hit the turret just so Sharp can get some experience. But Minky Whale, he's pretty happy right now. 13 CS off.
Yeah, they would have farmed things out nicely here. 22 to 9 CS so far, and a happy little horsey with his smite ready to go. We see this a lot, honestly, in top lane matchups where one has a smite and one doesn't. It's really easy for you to get CS in a 1v2.
Yeah, it certainly is. You're just able to smite away cannon creeps. Most importantly, they're the real winner right here. And you know, you could take jungle camps as often as you want, as top lane's still pushing. Although Tally, it's still pushing in Legacy's favor, so he'll be able to freeze that one up if he would so choose. And they're pinging out the bottom lane here for Direwolves, try and get a bigger minion wave advantage.
Yeah, when we talked about gold trades before, this is an instance where Legacy got a dragon, but also got the gold objective.
Yeah, exactly right. So they really won out hard in this early game. Even though Direwolves are up by 1,000 gold, really is the jungle position that's holding a lot of that right now, Cybele. And on the other side of the map, it is definitely Minky Whale that has the advantage.
And we've seen Minky when he goes big on the horse, looks great as Carbon in the mid lane finds perfection. Ulti's ready to go. There's a lot of friends here. Does get played back. Flying Dude trying to line up a hook. Perfection might have to use the ulti. Flash in. Hook there from Flying Dude. Choo-Choo's lands in. Great ultimate back in, and Perfection gets the ulti, but Choose just gets out alive.
Oh, that was so close there. Perfection held the ghost as well as the flash for such a long time. probably underestimated how deep they were going to go for that one, and in the end, paid the ultimate price.
Did indeed. Goes down there, use the cooldowns, and Sybil's forced to clean up the minions in the mid lane. Good teleport from Sharp, though. Gets him back into the top side to stop Tallywacker, who was pushing in the top lane, and the Dials get a turret in the bottom side. So things are going to equal out a little bit more. 1,000 gold up still for the Wolves.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, Legacy looking pretty good in this lane so far because, you know, Choose, he was that one that was able to pick up the gold. It was Chippy's earlier that picked up first blood. So Perfection a little bit behind in that lane matchup right now. Minky Whale, who we've noticed one of their major carries, is ahead. Nunu doesn't really care whether he's behind the Rek'Sai on farm. So unless Sybil can really go nuts around the map and try and get the lanes back ahead, it's a little bit of a discrepancy.
Let's see what happens. Dragging up in just under 2 minutes now, so we'll look to that as our next pressure point. Legacy getting the first one nice and early. But you mentioned in champs like the Direwolves looking to, you know, get Perfection going in the mid lane in his counter matchup and looking to try and give King some sort of CS lead. They got the swap, they wanted to get that going, but how do you think that plan in the early games come out for Direwolves?
Yeah, you know, it looked like they were going to be able to execute well. It was just that one mishap underneath the turret that cost them. Otherwise, they would be pretty far ahead. They would have had 2 turrets to 0 advantage at this point in time because the first one wouldn't have fallen down, and maybe the pressure wouldn't have been there for Perfection, but right now 10 CS, Tallywhacker's up, and Choo Choo's looking fantastic in the lane.
Yeah, and I like what Choo's done there with his item build there as well. We saw Chippies at the early roam looking nice. Early Moby boots here for Ju because he knows he's needed around the map.
Yeah, and Ju's another player that really burst onto the scene this split and impressed. He's filled in for Ejim incredibly well, and you know, the Moby boots suit his play style because he's very aggressive.
He does. He loves to roam there as well. Loves to make plays. His Thresh gets back when he was competing, maybe even just a year ago in Oceanic. He's been around for quite a while on teams like YSSC. Incredibly impressive on the playmaking champions.
Yeah, it certainly is. Loves to fly in there, stay nice and aggressive. You saw with the flash hook coming through, and the team follows up. Right now, Legacy, a team that are used to playing with an aggressive support player, and Ju's really filled that role that Ejim left, and honestly, it allows Carbon to do what he does best, and that's control the map, make sure they're playing a tempo game, and Chu just goes off every now and again.
Yeah, he really does. Here, we are going to have a replay here from early in the game. I think we're going to watch Poor Perfection have a bad time.
Yeah, he certainly is. And, you know, important thing to note here is that Perfection has both summoner spells available. So as we roll this one out, we see that Carbon, he goes aggressive, and Perfection still hasn't burned a summoner spell right now. And then Chu goes in, able to get the slow from his play, and then Flashes gets the hook in. Still no summoner spell burn. It's not until the very end where Choo Choo's is able to go in, and Choo Choo's burns both summoner spells. But hey, he gets the kill. So realistically, even though that was like 4 summoner spells used for 1, that's a huge win for Legacy because they got the lane back in their favor.
It is. And I look back on that replay and think, Perfection, just old Carbon.
Yeah. Old Carbon, like burn a ghost so you can run somewhere. Like use any of your buttons, dude. There's like 3.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, exactly. He had 3 options there. Didn't use any of them. Clearly thought he was going to leave Perfection, a player that loves to hold on to his summoners and use those raw mechanics and only use them when he absolutely has to make some sort of play. But it cost him there, which is unfortunate because the first part of the lane went so well.
Yeah, it certainly did. And you know, you're probably not expecting a support to flash on you mid lane, a jungler to follow up that far, and then Choo Choo's to burn both summoner spells to secure the kill. He probably thought that he would have been able to trade back relatively effectively with the ultimate under turret, but it just wasn't meant to be.
I think Perfection feels like a top laner again, maybe, because teams, especially the Chiefs, were famous for camping that man. I'm sure he has nightmares about it.
Yeah, they honestly love to send 3-4 members up there, especially in the early game, and just the repeat visits definitely were a reason why he felt he was more suited to the mid lane, and now teams just seem to be doing the same thing there.
Look, again, especially in lane swaps, you do have to be aware, Ju, a very strong roaming support. Chippies, again, had a great early roam. Like, these are real problems you can have in the mid lane. Perfection, he knows he's got a big target on his forehead, so he does have to watch out.
Oh, 100%. He is the primary carry for the team. Like, as much credit as we can give King for being a premier AD carry, time and time again, we've seen that Perfection is a person that does the majority of the work, at least through the early mid-game. King, very good late-game AD carry once he is rolling, but Perfection does nurse him to that spot.
He does, and I think King's another person worth checking in just from early on in this game. We talked about him being the other person that needs to get his early farm, preferably a CS lead if you can. How do you think he's going on the first 8 minutes or so?
Yeah, so he's fallen about 10 CS behind. Not too much of a deal. You know, he's going to be able to go towards probably Bloodthirster first on Kalista. Important to note that Kalista has a much smoother item curve than a lot of AD carries because she gets attack damage, lifesteal, and attack speed off her first 2 items, whereas other AD carries normally get attack damage crit and attack speed off their first 2 items. So going to be able to do a lot through stacking up that rend, get some AoE out there, although wouldn't be surprised if we saw another single target Kalista build come out, to be honest, and see whether they can get him rolling on a pretty aggressive AD carry.
Yeah, very, I think. I mean, King plays almost every AD carry aggressive, I feel like. I think if we gave them man Cogmore, he'd be going in there, but we do pop back in the game. Direwolves are looking to siege down this mid lane turret. 2-1 up in turrets for the Direwolves, and they do have 2 AD carries to try and push them down.
Yeah, and I feel like this is something that we should have hit a little bit more in the draft, is the fact that Varus is an AD, but he's also poke, so he sieges better than anyone except for maybe Jace, and you see exactly why, just able to throw out repetitive Qs.
Yep, but the issue might be Minky free farming in the bottom side of the map.
Oh,
King is
goodbye, Tallywhacker.
a gank with an AD carry and a support here. King is leading the charge. Tally's already used his ulti. He's got no turret to run back to. I think goodbye is fitting here. Tally going to turn it around and try and get some damage down. Good spell shield, but that's not going to matter enough, and King gets the kill.
Yeah, and you saw how much respect Sharp gives his AD carry. Actually turned away with the flame spitter there, made sure that he appreciated the roam that came up into the top lane by maybe a strange ganker, but very effective there. Has the slow coming through, and you see King, he absorbs even more farm.
Level 6 now as well. So Legacy going to go back in for a dragon, but the Direwolves, they have 1 goal this game, it feels like. Take the turrets.
Yeah, they want to take the turrets, but more importantly, they want that gold lead to be able to get themselves in a position where they just feel confident with their items. So they're not really caring about the double dragon buff. They just want to be able to push down structures.
Yeah, Sybil looks for a dive on the Minky. Minky actually used his ultimate to get his way out of there, but Direwolves, they're going hard for this turret. King has no attack speed, so it's just slowly chunking it out, but they do take it away.
Yeah, so in the end, once again, huge win. Now 2,300-ish gold. A big turret advantage as well. Looks like Legacy might be able to get mid lane, but chooses lower mana.
Perfection coming in as well. Can clear out reasonably well with his Q if he can get in range, but no chance this time. Just a bit of poke. You can see the damage. Perfection now going to have to play without that turret.
Yeah, so no turret going to be there. Choose gets it down early. The last outer for Legacy is that mid lane one. Azir does a good job of being able to defend, actually, as well as pushing turrets. So not surprising to see Choose keep his available, but this is a lot of CS right now on Tallywhacker as opposed to King.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it. King wants to get that CS lead, loves to bully the enemy AD carry and scale up. Struggling a bit now, is working on that Bloodthirst. That shouldn't be too far away, with especially Global Gold coming in for Direwolves, but that Dragon's going to start to be a problem, and it feels like the Direwolves have done a decent job in the early game, but unfortunately for them, it just doesn't get easier from this point.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, they've got a lot of global gold, which means that right now, Chippies is a happy member. Also, the jungler, a very big lead coming through there. You see 600 on both of them, but it is the AD carry position. Actually, King remains in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to kill
some turrets. Makes sense.
Yeah, but I don't think it's enough for a player like King especially. Maybe even as more so on a champion like Kalista, you really want to start snowballing towards that mid game.
Yeah, you certainly do. You know, you want to be able to bully the lane, get up in their face, make sure that you're the aggressive AD carry. And King, maybe gone a little bit too aggressive. There's a Thresh and a Sivir.
Oh, King. Always far ahead farming. Does go down there, but Carvin's in the top side. So watch for maybe another successful gank by Legacy. Minky charges back, gets it in. Absolute Zero forces the flash. Sharp's going to move in. That tower's got no health left, and Sharp, no ultimate, probably no hope as they're going to look to clear. What?
Yeah, so 3 members actually heading up the river. Minky, a little bit low on mana, no damage items, and it looks like the collapse will be successful.
Instead, we see King who's dead. Minky actually might be the next target, like you've said. Good transition there from Dials, but won't get Minky.
They're both going to get out.
Is going to get away as well. Chippies looks for a binding and doesn't find the right brush. And Perfection even came up, but no kills left.
Yeah, Flash on Burrow was available as well, just didn't want to burn the cooldowns there. So once again, Direwolves, they actually lose their lead off the back of 2 turrets falling down.
Tallywhacker got the kill on the bottom side with the help of Thresh. Choo-Choo's down here as well. They're going to look for King again. If they just get the turret, they'll be happy, but I think King's going to give them a chance.
Oh, Choose missed the combo. He was going for it.
He was. He wanted him dead. King now with the Bloodthirst, so Overshield's going to help any sort of aggression, but struggling potentially here for Dials. That gold lead now way back to even.
Yeah, exactly right. So Legacy really done a good job of closing that one down. You saw the Direwolves we're trying to push down structures early, get themselves an advantage in gold to be able to fight the 3rd and 4th dragons. Right now, they're going to have to do so on equal footing and just trust on the inherent power of Varus's kit to be able to poke them off.
And Perfection, he is still scaling up there as well. He actually went for an early Brutalizer, so Manamune a little bit delayed. How much more does Perfection need to really be a force in the mid game?
Yeah, it really just needs the upgrade into the, the combine into the Manamune, as well as some cooldown reduction boots, and he'll be completely fine.
So, kind of like Jace, pretty cost efficient as far as early build goes.
Yeah, as far as Varus goes, he is Jace. Like, he likes to go into the Last Whisper after that. Does well with flat AD, as does Jace. Doesn't have the assassination potential, but has some more CC in his kit.
Yeah. So we'll see the Direwolves now using that Varus, who does have decent poke lined up, try and take out a turret, but Choo Choo's there, the real gatekeeper of turrets is Azir. And Minky might even be looking for a 1v1.
Yeah, you know, you question why Minky has Smite then, because so far he has split pushed all game, and with Ignite and the Trinity Force, probably would have killed him.
Yep, he's going to try and kill him anyway. Equalize it out for Sharp. Going to run back over it. Minky, very tanky though with the Cinder Holds.
Yeah, he just has no ability to 1v1 though, honestly. Sharp can go back. He probably should have gone Boots 2 already for the mobility say, and just keep trading like that because he's not in danger of being dove, so he can just farm underneath turret.
King instead, going to take away the red buff here for Dials. Will tuck a bunch of spears into it, be able to take it away. It's funny to see Kalista with no attack speed for me, because it just seems like such a different champion.
Yeah, it certainly is, and wow, Minky again, maybe caught out.
Sybil gets some burrow, Chippy to the binding, Sharp goes in, kill goes to Rek'Sai. Bit of a misstep there for Minky Whale.
Yeah, Minky Whale just continuing to play aggressive. We don't really expect much to come out, or much else to come out from Minky Whale, but as I said, I'm really a bit confused now about the summoner spell choice, because if Minky was playing this aggressively and didn't have to invest all that gold into a jungle item, would be in a commanding position to take over mid game. Instead, he should be trying to scale towards late, but just wants to continue to fight Sharp.
I mean, Minky, it's so funny to me, because he clearly, likes to do creative things. We saw the Banner of Command earlier on this week.
Ingenious, by the way. That was ingenious. Yeah.
I mean, Perfection maybe in trouble again, flying through Flash Play, gets exhausted, Choo Choo's runs in, hook lands, Perfection, real dead. A flash left up, but no chance to use it.
Yeah, Juice playing really well yet again. 0-0-3, been a part of every kill so far for Legacy. Secures them probably their 3rd dragon of the game. And you can just see how good his and Carbon's vision control is when they're as a unit.
Yeah, and we've seen them run together a lot. The lane swaps certainly just kind of paired them together. They've roamed around, they've got double sight stone as well, they're putting out all of this vision. And they're now set up well enough for the Dragon fight that Legacy should be able to take their 3rd here.
Yeah, we mentioned the fact that really the only thing Direwolves had for them was the poke, but it's already started.
Another grab there, Sharp gonna get played back. Carbon, flash ulties forward, and Tallywacker gets the first kill onto Rumble. Sybil's forced to flash away. Chippies goes back in as King, trying to apply the Ren stacks, but he's forced to flash out.
They got him off the Dragon though.
Yeah, I mean, 1 kill there for Legacy, not too bad, but you have to think that it's going to go back as soon as possible.
Yeah, they're all really though, so it is going to be a risk to try and fight this one again because Perfection is there.
No reset just yet. Perfection could be the big difference. Manamune is completed. Good soldiers there.
As well.
Yeah, Perfection going to jump in. They're going to try for something here. Chippies though gets grabbed up. Teleport's going to come through. Minky used his ultimate. Sharp's here as well though. Tally gets another kill onto Morgana. And the Dragon's still not dead. Carbon actually caught in the pit. Gonna go down to Sharp. Dragon goes to Direwolves. And all of a sudden the turnaround, good spell shield though from Tally.
Yeah, and it was just very telegraphed then from Legacy. They wanted the Dragon. They were going to continue to commit. They didn't have any mana on Tallywacker, on Carbon. Only really Choo Choo's was the one that was ready to fight right now. And it sounds silly, but at this point of the game, Tally may as well be a caster AD carry with the boomerangs that need to come out. And they just give up way too much.
Yeah, losing a turret there as well really hurts Legacy.
And pressure all over the map. 2 giant minion waves. 3 if you count the one sitting on top turret. And they've just been split up, and now Direwolves trying to take another.
They might get it here as all Perfections come through. Gonna start poking it down. Damage is good. Flying Drew looking for a flank with Carbon. Gonna come in, but the pokes maybe too much. Even Sharp's ready. Equalizer almost back up. Carbon, that's too aggressive. Even he knows he has to back away.
Yeah, and Direwolves just regain control off. I'm going to say an overcommitment. Oh, Choose nearly gets picked as well.
The Direwolves...
This is strange play out of Legacy. Normally such a smart team, and they want to play Direwolves' game.
Yeah, they're playing into their own hands. They're so aggressive, and the Direwolves actually got enough pressure back, and they might even get this turret.
Yeah, Nunu, Azir, as well as all the scaling that's going to come out of the top laner, they don't need a fight. Like, right now is when Direwolves are strong, just back away, give it up. Instead, Legacy are just running headfirst at them.
Yeah, and they won't lose their next tower, so that's at least a consolation for them. Waves are starting to push back towards the Direwolves side of the map, but they'll all recall. They've got decent chunks of gold to spend after those exchanges. Equaling kills, the Direwolves sort of bring it back and get themselves to not quite 1,500 gold ahead, but like you said, that was pressure Legacy didn't need to give the Direwolves.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, after they got that kill, they could have just backed away, reset. There was no way that Direwolves were going to go for that dragon fight. Really put the screws back in and get some better ward control. Right now, you would say the map is pretty neutral, and those 3 big waves that were on the turrets all crashed in reverse just because of the fact that Legacy decided to fight.
Yeah, and again, we've seen the Direwolves, this incarnation of the team especially, just loves to fight people. We've seen Perfection get a lot more aggressive. King feels like he has to play more proactively, loves to play into people, and he was already pretty aggro when Shuffle was by his side. I think you're right. Just let Direwolves do their thing and then outscale them. Legacy, that's how they beat a lot of top teams.
Exactly right. You know, and the reason we're bringing it up is because Legacy, one of the best team fighting teams we have in Oceania. They've got a great team fight comp right now, and honestly, scaling's on their side. And they're a really smart team as well, as you see a flank coming onto Sharp, trying to catch him out of position.
Well, Sharp does have his flash equalizer there as well, but this Rumble been kept pretty far down by Legacy, 20 CS down. He's got the Haunting Guards, he's got his Sork Shoes, working on his Zhonya's with the Arm Guard, but he's just been constantly bullied by Minky Whale.
Certainly has. Minky Whale seems to once again have the better of this lane matchup. Home Guard boots through as well as a completed jungle item, looking for those flanks in team fight. The other reason we saw the drop-off of Cinderhawk, not only the nerf that came through, is he really does need 3 or 4 items to be relevant in these team fights. You see, he's got 1 in his boots, so probably still another good 10 minutes away before Minky can start taking over and be that huge tank he needs to be. Whereas you feel with Ignite, you just have more bang for buck early game.
Yeah, we've started seeing again, kind of going back to Assassin's and really just, yeah, it's great.
Get your E second and, you know, get Home Guard boost Trinity Force and just try and delete an AD carry with that E.
Well, we'll see if they can target either of the immobile AD carries here. I guess King maybe a bit more mobile. Sybil coming in there on the red buff with the help of Chip. He's flying Judo in the area. That's not the man you ever want to see. Minky here as well. Black Shield down. Sybil really committing. Does get it. Tunnels away. Very cute.
Yeah, just didn't feel the threat coming through there. He's nice and tanky already in this game. Has been able to stay up in CS against the Nuno and even counter jungling a little bit. Sybil hasn't pressured the lanes the way we normally see him, but has had a solid early game.
He has. And the Direwolves actually playing surprisingly calm here. They've rotated well to get turrets when they've found themselves in those sort of positions. But the early game maybe went a bit pear-shaped for them. We talked about Legacy and their scaling. What do the Direwolves want to do in the next few minutes?
Yeah, so right now they're looking to see whether they can get maybe a little bit more AD onto Perfection and his transform coming through at about the 26-minute mark. And then they just look to Siege. Right now they will win or lose off the back of how effectively they can use the mid-game power of Varus to take structures and get themselves in an advantage.
It's Callista coming through as well. Ruined Hurricane seems to be coming online. Oh, it could be a Blade of the Ruined King. The King wants to go for a much later game build, but you have to think Callista's going to hit her stride soon as well.
Yeah, and that's the one reason that I do agree with the Smite choice from Minky Whale in the top lane. It makes a lot of sense against Callista in particular because Hecarim with the challenging Smite just shrugs off a lot of the damage. There's no real crit coming through here. He's not pressured at all. And Minky will just continue to dive King. As long as he keeps him out of the team fight, that is a huge win for Legacy.
Yeah, and we've seen Callista a lot of the time does have trouble with tanks. Pretty much when you can't kill them with Rend, you have problems.
Yeah, exactly right. If you don't get that first Rend reset, then your damage just falls off a cliff. It's like dropping a Draven Axe. It just doesn't work from there.
It does not at all. And the Direwolves will see what they can do. Dragon up in 35 seconds. Legacy could look for their 30. That would be a decent clip along the way to that 5th Dragon, given how early their first one was. Tally as well. Double items, now Static Shiv and Infinity Edge completed. So trying to push down some turrets, but Sybil there to ward off the minions.
Yeah, Tally's in a great position. 50 CS up against his direct lane opponent. 4-1-0. Has 4 out of the 5 kills for his team, so he's feeling pretty good at this point in the game.
I would be too, I think, if I was the Sybil with this lead. Flying Dew hooks the Scuttle Crab. Carbon comes in to eat it, does consume
Scuttle
it.
Crab had a big kill all game.
Yeah,
it was like 83 gold of like 2 autos.
Well, Legacy going to pick up the Dragon instead. Nice ward on top of it. So Direwolves, no one in the area, they cannot contest here.
Yeah, just way too far away from Perfection. You know, they got one of them. Oh, they're going again.
They are going in. Sybil wants it. Carbon gets it though. Sharp teleported in, but they've just ulted themselves out of the way. Well played by Legacy.
Yeah, it certainly was. This time they got the objective. They got out, respected the team fight that will come out of mid-game Direwolf, and didn't have to burn that 5-minute cooldown of teleport.
You see that Sun turret up for Choo-Choo's. Going to keep these minions out of the base, and Legacy playing a lot calmer now.
Yeah, they certainly are. This is a Legacy that we like to watch play, controlling the side waves, making sure that they're taking smart objective trades, although Minky yet again caught out of position.
Oh, Hawk land onto Sybil. I think it just missed there. But King coming up, he's trying to collapse onto Minky. Jimmies is there as well. Sharp's going to join the party, and Minky, well, out of position. He's got his ulti. Sybil's going to come through. That doesn't work. Lanton's good. And Flying Dew will save his teammate.
Yeah, so they're in the end able to save Minky Whale. Took a lot of time for King to be able to get around. Tried to corral him, and just good communication meant that he wasn't able to fall.
Oh, and Sharp still trying to keep the waves back. Rumble, especially without something like Abyssal, will struggle to push these waves back. You have to think in the Direwolves, they found a little bit of momentum before, and Legacy sort of gave them a bit of rope, but they found almost nothing, it feels like, in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, the screws really have gone in, and you wonder how long is it until they start looking at that Baron objective. They've got a lot of secure coming out of Kalista that would feel like they could do it relatively easy. Potentially something they can look at, because so far they haven't been able to get much out of the Varus.
Well, they've got Distortion moves to perfection. Runa Hurricane out now for King. I imagine the Maroon Mana's on the way. Sharp ulti's down. I think if Dials want to go, they have to go now. Flash ulti there finds Tallywhacker of all targets. He will go down as Sybil going to smite onto Carbon, is forcing him to flash away. Minky can port in, but he's got no ulti. The Direwolves get a good kill.
Yeah, great pick coming through there. Both summoner spells used this time from a perfection. They're corralling him, making sure they can't take the short way through the base. That was dangerous from Choose, honestly. As soon as you see the soldier from Chippies, that should have been a Dark Binding.
Well, perfection zips his way in. He's got Qs ready to go. He's got blue buff as well, actually. So this is going to be a nice siege setup for the Dials. They should be able to get this tier 2.
Yeah, but teleport is available on Minky. No creep wave there so far, although Choose just took another arrow to the back of the head.
Yeah, sharping in the bottom lane might be the problem for this siege here for the Dials, but we're going to make a good go of it. Choo-Choo's is low. The poke is really strong from this Azir. Got to dodge the hook, so it's very scary to do this to Legacy, although that poke is dumb. Carbon caught by a bind. Damage is good. Perfection takes him out. Sybil dives in to secure it, and the Dials will now get the tower.
Yeah, and even without the rumble there, Chippy's again taking him up. Dude, you're not a top laner anymore.
I don't know if Chippy's got that message, Spawn. He has been doing a lot of top laney Morgana things.
Yeah, he certainly has. So able to take up the turret again, and this time they will go for the Baron.
Yeah, Zonya's now up for Sharp as well. Dials have hit quite a number of good item timings, and Kalista's on top of the Baron. This should be over to Direwolf.
Yeah, Chippy's going to zone away as well, try and see if he can catch out the AD carry. Can just be altered back over the wall if he needs to. Yeah. Minky will fight for it.
Great point. Minky's got his smite as well, though. Brenda's good. Chippies has to go away. Minky dives in. Baron goes to Kalista, though. Minky caught up in a binding with the ultimate's good. Choo-Choo, so rides them all back in with the Emperor's Divide, but Direwolf still able to get a couple kills. King, though, far too low. Tallywhacker there to fight, and Sybil, the only one left alive, but not for very long. Carbon goes in there with a snowball. Flying Dew, that's the success if he does. What did Flying Dew flash there? Doesn't matter. Ace completed by Legacy.
Yeah, I think you were scared of the bite. It was on the animation where it actually flashed out of range. Probably going to be able to break the base as well. And, you know, you could just tell it was coming from Direwolves. They built the team comp for it. That's the kind of team they are. Legacy read them like a book and made them pay.
Very nice. The Ace there pretty much shrugs off the Baron buff. The gold is good for the Direwolves. That basically just means we're even at this stage. Yes, that is a huge top wave.
Like, so big. As we check out the replay here, Chippy splashes over, actually gets taken out by Tally over the wall. Minky doesn't get the Baron, but this is the play. Shoves everyone back on top of Minky Whale. He doesn't appreciate it, but chooses like, that's the choke I want to fight in. Able to take everyone off the map. Cybele dies afterwards as well.
Yeah, that was without Carbon, who was lazily wandering back down to snowball Sybil and seal his fate. Dragon up in a minute 35. Legacy looking for maybe their fourth. You can see they've got a slight gold lead, but that scaling starting to mean much more than the gold will.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, unless they're shoved off by Varus, being able to poke them through here, objectives really should right now be in Legacy's favor. You see, Minky Whale, he agreed that he wasn't doing enough damage, went for that Trinity Force relatively quickly in this game as well, so now he's back to being the assassin.
Trust Minky Whale to take Smite, build Cinderhawk, and then refuse to build Tanky.
Yep. Multiplicative scaling, what is that? He needs Atlas's lesson on it.
Yes, he does. But Minky wants to do more damage. certainly will be effective now if Legacy feel they have to fight this very second. And their items are good as far as that goes. Randuin's completed, Carbon, nice and tanky. Rabadon's completed for Choo-Choo. 3 items, including a Bloodthirster there for Tally, and a Righteous Glory on top there for Flying Jew. Turret does go to Direwolves, but Dragon's back in 40 seconds.
Yeah, and you know, they haven't recalled yet with Minky Whale. Has the Home Guard boots, has the Trinity Force. Should be able to get in there and affect it. Sharp going back to base to stop the split push, but Legacy are all about this next drag.
Yep, 30 seconds. That's what they want. Teleports up for both top laners. Minky approaching level 16, but will not get there for the next dragon fight. And Sharp, he's just fine. I mean, the Direwolves are matching nicely in items. I don't know quite yet if Legacy have hit the breakpoint where they're just like, you know what, we're confident we can win 5v5.
Yeah, I think they're confident in Tallywhacker right now. There's no armor coming through on the lineup, really, and he's real strong when you compare him to his direct opponent, King. So Legacy definitely would be thinking with the Blood Boil, with Tallywhacker being our carry right now, we can take this next fight.
Perfection does have his transform as well, even building more AD, looking for a Bloodthirster. So he's quite strong as well here. The Direwolves trying to make a game of it despite the team comp discrepancy as we approach 30 minutes into the game. But Legacy are being patient.
Yeah, you know, for once I will do it. Potentially a Bloodthirster, potentially the other item that gives you cooldown reduction. Don't know its name. It's that bad on everyone. But Varus is the one champion I will make it acceptable.
We're going in for the Dragon, actually. Aggression coming through. Carbonate's an ulti. Dragon will go to the Direwolves, but Sharp chasing Tally. Too far forward is the Seven Trippies. Dives in with the Fate's Call. They don't get the kill, but they do stop the Dragon.
Yeah, and you know, that's really important because that's Dragon number 5. You would say right now that is one of Legacy's win conditions, and twice it's been denied by the Direwolves. Perfection just does ridiculous damage. You know, 1, 3, and 5, you think not having the best game does not matter. The items are there, and he's just able to shove people off.
Yeah, Perfection. If he was going to make a carry out of a champion like Varus, he's the sort of player that can get it done.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, riding the mid-game power, trying to build towards some late game as well. Has got very good damage at this point, and with blue buff, he can just sit around and poke for days.
Blue buff now on, almost level 16 but for Perfection now as well. In fact, who's going to be the first level 16? Because there are some fairly key ultimates.
Yeah, there certainly are, especially you look towards the Equalizer, you look towards, I guess, I don't even know what Hecarim's is called, Onslaught of Shadows.
Correct. Well done. You win ultimate trivia today. Sharp there. Running down. Actually misses the pink orb that's been very sneakily put in the brush. But he has had a bit of a tough time, but I have to say Sharp has grouped and fought well with his team.
Yeah, he certainly has. And you know, this is what you expect out of someone like a Rumble that does group up as opposed to the split pushing. Minky just gets a lot of free farm because he wants to absorb it in the lane, whereas Sharp wouldn't be doing his job if he was just sitting in a lane farming. He needs to be grouped.
Oh, look at Scott of God somehow. He smited it away. Poor Sybil going to get it tonight. Chippy's actually caught off there. Their target is Sybil. Equalizer goes down. Legacy might have to be a bit careful. The hook goes wide. Perfection poking in. They've used a lot of ultimates already.
Yeah, they certainly have. Sharp had to burn the flash because King was not there, but he's at a 3-item spike right now. Double lifesteal items coming through as well, so hard to get out. You see, even Carbon takes damage.
He gets ulted by Perfection. He's forced to flash away. The Dials are fighting with, I have to say, not a whole lot here as far as the comp goes, but they're making the resources work for them.
Yeah. Honestly, it's Perfection.
Yeah.
The dude's really strong right now. Sharp's done a great job of backing him up with some key Rumble ultimates, but they're living or dying by how much damage Perfection can put on key targets.
And they have to as well, because Minky's starting to scale up. Azir's not getting any weaker, and Civ is going to be just fine. Already pretty much peaked as far as damage, and it is getting stronger, building towards the last Whisper. I think the Dials know there's a bit of a timer, but they know they have to play with what they've got, and right now they've got a big Perfection.
Yeah, exactly right. So they're seeing how far this Varus can take them. They've taken 3 outer turrets, actually. Only really the base they've got left to break, and you have to see whether that's what they go for, or do they set up around Baron yet again.
A bit tricky, though, because taking the base requires them to probably fight Legacy, but we'll see how that goes here as Baron could be that win condition. 45 seconds till that's back available, and they are prioritizing vision on the left-hand side of the map.
Yeah, it's a really direwolf strat this time around, and you know, I like seeing them play this aggressively, trying to just deny vision, keep them away from a key objective, but it's not going to work.
That's a bit awkward. They are all on top of a ward. Legacy like, yep, we know you're there.
They're going.
They're going to charge in. Oh, Minky, good position. King, though, gets caught out. Snowballed there as well, but good disengage by the Direwolves.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was a key bind, a good flash to get out of the way. Even Minky takes damage right now, and he's nearly got a frozen heart from this Varus.
I mean, he doesn't have any extra health, I guess, right now. Still looking for more tank items. But yeah, we talked about Perfection being scary. He is the one they have to look for. When your tank's taking poke damage, still you have problems.
Yeah, and another huge minion wave on the top side of the map. Bottom also pushing in their favor. So Carbon steals another buff away.
He's really good at these swag steals with the smite, let me tell you.
Yeah, he certainly is. But you know, now it's on cooldown for a little while. Maybe they go for a Baron.
Just rush the Baron.
Yeah.
That would be a very dial strategy
Instead they rush top lane.
Yeah, I mean, Perfection's still mid. He's not going to be there in time. He's actually trying to force Minky away. Minky's ulted. I think he wants to try and kill Perfection. He's going to get low. Perfection in the duel. Did Ghost and ult away, but Minky's got teleport. The dials have to be so careful.
Yeah, Direwolves actually need to get out of there.
And they do. Chippy's Black Shields himself, he'll be safe. Fate's Call ready as well. Baron is up, Dragon at a minute 40. This game's getting crazy.
Yeah, the cat and mouse game of League of Legends. You can see Direwolves, they understand they're not strong in a 5v5 team fight. They want to be able to get around the map and force objectives, and maybe back to Baron.
I mean, Perfection just went back and bought an Elixir of Wrath, so he is about as strong as he's going to be in this game. I think if the Dials need to make a move, it's going to be soon.
Yeah, I think you know what they do is they set up around Dragon as if they want to fight and rotate really hard. Looks like they're just going for it though.
Straight onto the Baron instead here. Carbon will pop a ward in, but the spears have already started for Kalista. Last time this happened, Legacy won the team fight. We'll see what happens this time.
Yeah, and you know they're going for it again. Minky's behind them.
Doesn't have an ultimate. The Dials are forced to fight though. They peel off the ult, misses for Perfection, but a great double knock up there. Carbon pops his ulti. Rek'Sai's gotten in there though. Minky getting kited to death, but Tallywhacker's damage is off the chain, and Perfection round for the side. Sharp delays time there with the Zhonya's, gets the double. The Kalista goes down, but a great snipe there gives Varus a kill.
Yeah, so Varus able to pick it up. It's 2 for 2 in the end. Bottom lane for mid and AD carry. Probably in Direwolf's favor, but Tallywhacker engaged mid-Sivir mode.
Tally has done a lot of melee Sivir duty this game.
That's what I was looking for, the melee button. Like,
and
he turned it into a glaive.
I think he forgot. He's like, back in the Riven days, he was trying to go really deep there and get a 4-man Riven ult. Wrong champion.
Yeah, he was definitely not in a great position right there as an AD carry, and he's so much of their damage right now. 9, 3, and 1, 4 damage items. Now just going towards defense. He needs to be the person pumping out all that AoE AD damage, but just wasn't able to.
No, and the Dials might get another Dragon here up against Legacy. The 5 Dragon condition that Legacy wanted. Oh god, the race is on. Sybil does have his ulti. There's not really a tunnel near the Baron though. Perfection sees him. He might be able to poke them away. The Dials are going to commit to this Dragon though. They will get it.
Yeah, they certainly will. Sybil going low. They need to be careful right now, Direwolves.
Yeah, they do.
Sybil's going to need a recall.
Dragon's going to go down. He's got his ulti, so recall's not bad. He saves his smite, but he's not going to be there in time. The Baron's already dead. Not sure about that trade.
Yeah, that was not a great trade, and now they're just trying to get...
Oh my god, the Perfection damage. Sybil going to get chased down. Minky ultis. They're trying to cut them off here. Perfection around the side, but Chuchu's getting a kill. King runs in. Perfection wants more, but it's not enough.
Yeah, so in the end, they lose the Baron. They lose a member. And they should have just given up on the Dragon. They had the vision around the pit to know exactly what was going to happen, but they committed and they lose out.
Yeah, and Sybil, as I said, just didn't have a tunnel to go to, and the Legacy really shredded through that Baron. And you look down the comp, that should not be a surprise.
Yeah, exactly right. As soon as you see an Azir, Nunu, even the Hecarim has good consistent damage and an extra smite. Now all of a sudden they're going to be able to set up their soldiers, be able to get the siege going, and a lot of wave clear coming out of Direwolves, don't get me wrong, but it's a tough ask.
And Perfection again has to do a lot of work. There's another BF sword as well, so the wave clear's not bad here, but Baron up minions do work. Yep. Although they're doing a nice job clearing them out for now.
Yeah, double AD carry actually does well against Baron up minions, so might just have to look for a dive here with Mickey Whale. He's got some armor, got the challenging smite and level 17. See what the call is, but side wave control once again kind of going to take a while for Legacy to get back in their favor.
And I feel like Dials have done an excellent job of controlling sideways this game.
Yeah, every single time we mention it, they're in the good position. Oh.
This is not a fun gauntlet to run if you're Legacy. This is a lot of skill shots to avoid.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, you know, the big one coming out of Perfection right now still does a lot of damage.
I don't know if I've ever seen a mid lane Varus be this effective at almost 40 minutes into a game, but Perfection is making me a believer.
Yeah, he certainly is. And, you know, they've completely abandoned it. They're out of the lane with Baron buff. That's exactly where you want to be, rotating back to mid. They're trying to take away the short path that Direwolves are able to take through the forest, but twice it hasn't worked.
And the vision on the left-hand side of the map in particular is stellar for the Direwolves. It's, again, funny that they lost that Baron, but they're at least able to defend from it.
Yeah, they're able to, I guess, regroup as best as possible. Right now, it looks like Legacy feel the only way they can get a turret is if it's Minky pushing, because Sharp really can't clear the cannon minion that's going to come down with it, so I agree with their strategy. But even Sharp has done a good job of staying relevant in this game.
He has. He actually has gone kind of full utility here with his build. He's got the Zonies, he's got his penetration items, those are fairly stock standard, but Aurelius was his next choice here, and it seems like he just wants to supplement the other carries of Direwolves.
Yeah, wants to get in there, make sure everyone else can do their job. Probably going to have to drop the equalizer on this wave, and it's going to be up to Perfection and King to see if they can defend on the bottom side of the map.
Fitting that a Direwolves game would come down to Perfection and King, trying to do a lot of heavy lifting, but can't lift that. 3 Baron Cannons and all of Legacy bar Minky Whale. Nothing they can do.
Sharp winning out in the 1v1 right now. Has forced Minky off the turret, so that's a win on the top side of the map.
I think he must have tanked some turrets because Sharp still has his ultimate.
Yeah, exactly right. I think you're correct in that regard, but Baron only leads to 1 turret. Still about a 2,000 gold lead. Has fallen off now, and it will probably come down to these Dragons. Number 4 and number 5 going to be all important for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, turret scores everything up. Kills have been fairly close all game long at 10 to 13 currently. And we keep talking about the Legacy scaling, but Spawn, the Direwolves have just hold on.
Yeah, they're doing everything they possibly can. As I said, they were trying to get cute around Baron. They did that once, were able to pick up the Baron, but subsequently lost the team fight. They got a couple of good Dragon takeaways. You know, the only real slip-up they've made this game is letting Legacy have that Baron for free.
Yeah, and Minky now going to find the 1v1 against Sharp. Sharp has the ulti, forced to flash out from under Minky, though. He'll be forced away. He does have home guard boots, but Legacy might get one more tower.
Yeah, looking to see if they can push in. The wave is a little bit off. They just base tank it.
Very nice there. I mean, you have to, honestly, at this point, you've got plenty of items on everyone. You need to get these turrets. I think base tank's a fairly good strategy.
Yeah, I agree, especially with Nunu on your team. Doesn't really take much from turrets.
No. Especially if there's a friendly minion or enemy minion for him to eat. King, though, trying to push the waves back out. We can see part of why Dial's wave control has been so good this game. But a double AD comp running into Nunu, Azir, Tank Hecarim with a Sivir to speed them all up. It's going to be a hard ask of Direwolves.
Yeah, it certainly is. You know, right now, Minky is the furthest off his item threshold. He's got 4.5 coming through there. Still has a whole item to complete. And when he does, he's going to be able to run over the top of people. He's already too tanky to really have Sharp deal with him right now. So, yeah, completely agree. You know, Perfection, he's finished up his item build. Sybil, he's nearly done. Everyone kind of hitting critical mash, apart from Choo-Choo's and Minky, and they're only going to get stronger.
That sounds really terrifying. Like, yeah, everyone's pretty good, but, oh, Azir and Hecarim are going to get stronger. That's not what you want to hear.
Yeah,
Those champions are really good late game.
That's why you generally don't see them in 40-plus minute games, because you've either won by this point if you're the Direwolves, or thrown everything into trying to win and just lost.
Well, Legacy have certainly held off the Direwolves' attempt to throw a bunch in to try and win, and they've gotten themselves to the late game point where they like to be with a good late game team comp. But the Direwolves are not done yet. Now, big point of tension might just be these Dragons. Number 4 for both teams is up in 30 seconds.
Yeah, and you see that Minky isn't in base. He's actually trying to split push again, so question whether he's able to get in and impact the team fight. Blue buff is up right now, and the Direwolves want it on their AD carry, but straight away Legacy get control over the area.
They know they can't. They have to be here. Carbon, that was a good chunk of damage there from Perfection. And Minky, he has a red elixir.
Yeah, Minky wants to kill someone.
I mean, King of Perfection, a fairly good target, so I think I understand him.
Yeah, completely do. And you know, it looks like they're going to try and trade the base
God.
for Dragon number 4.
Direwolves have really committed to these Dragons. It cost them a Baron last time. What will it cost them this time?
Inhibitor turrets right now.
Well, Dragon's dead. They take it quickly, but I don't know if it's worth the trade either. Direwolves gonna get it. Sybil actually forced to do it solo because the rest of the team needs to back away. But first in-hit turret's already gone. Sharp with an ulti. Might be able to play
Sybil's
clean
behind
up.
them.
They're going to try something. Oh, misses from Affection. Legacy want this in him more than anything else. They are going to get it, and they have to back away. Good wall there from Choo-Choo. But Sybil around the side. Good knock-up. Ulti there from Carbon comes through. Minky dives in. A bit too aggressive. King's going to peel off and kill him. Sharp. Good Zonyas. Buys them more time. Tally eats a massive amount of poke from the Varus. And only Minky's dead. Oh, Perfection. Flash Q misses Choo-Choo's. And that's it. I don't think I can get any more kills.
Yeah, they're still trying to go for it, though. No wards in front of them to be able to go for. Carbon, how did you live? Better yet, Shark, how did you live? Baron is back available. Direwolves should go for it.
I mean, they are going to. They might push back one more wave.
Top.
All right, they've listened to you. They've stopped pushing top lane. They're gonna go for it. Sharp's gonna back away. He's got teleport. Sybil's tanky enough, and they've got plenty of damage between these AD carries. Baron does go to Direwolves. This game is insane, though.
Yeah, this game has like reached a new level there. As the Baron does go down, they lose the inhibitor, they get a kill, and the Baron buff, as well as the Dragon. So honestly, because of the response, Direwolves came out ahead.
Well, I mean, we'll see what Legacy can do with that top inhibitor down, but it might be a bit tricky, and that Dragon and the inhib respawns are going to be quite close together.
Yeah, they certainly are, so we'll have to see where they're able to balance that. If we just take stock of the game, this is a very mid-game centric team comp that came out of Direwolves, but it hasn't fallen off yet because there's just not that much armor built up on the other lineup. You see that Locket came out when there's really only Sharp to deal with magic-wise, and even he isn't building an abundance of AP, has gone more that utility build, as we pointed out. So there's no, I guess there's like not the 3 Frozen Hearts, the 3 Thormails you're used to seeing against these AD carry comps. There's a lot more mixed composition coming through here. Only really Minky Whale is effective against them, and even he went the Spirit Visage because he's the one that's running into Sharp 1v1. So even though they should be dropping off right now because of all the AD damage they're bringing, the builds from Legacy have left the door open.
They haven't. Perfection's poke's been relevant all game long, and we're 45 minutes into this game. King starting to get really strong on Kalista as far as late game scaling goes. He's actually just kind of solo pushing the super minions by himself with a bit of help from Baron.
Yeah, exactly right. So we'll have to see whether King continues to scale up. He's obviously going for a GA this game as well. He wants the second life coming through. And this is now down to executions part of the game. You can talk about scaling compositions. The ability to be able to use the Hecarim, use the Azir is something completely else. Sure, they're inherently more strong, but right now, looks like Direwolves understand their comp very well.
They do, and Perfection still trying to threaten with the poke. Minky's forced back again. Mid lane seems to be pushing for the Wolves. The Baron buff's helping out. This is going to be quite the siege.
Yeah, it certainly is. You know, double AD as well as Perfection. Throwing through the arrows whenever he wants. They're going to be able to push the super creep wave with the Baroned up minions, which is really cute coming through here. And if Direwolves break the base on the top side of the map, it's going to be Legacy that has to worry about it. Top side inhibitor probably more important right now because it's a 5th Dragon buff.
Yep. I mean, we've mentioned Barons, we mentioned Dragons. 5th Dragon's our next major objective. And Legacy.
Oh, King took some damage there. He needs to be careful.
He's got good lifesteal. Binding lands on a Minky. They'll get the damage in.
So low.
Yeah, he is.
They need to back away.
Perfection trying to make sure he covers his AD carries. Good Black Shield, actually. Moves the...
He's got double lifesteal, meaning if he gets onto something like that, you see he goes up incredibly quickly.
Yeah, he's back to full health now. Dials might be able to fight again here.
Yeah, might not expect it here, Legacy.
I really thought Perfection was going to ult, but he wasn't quite in range. Choo-Choo's good poke there as well. This game, we said execution is key. This game is very tense right now. Dragon is up in 1:45.
And you see how early they rotate over to that side of the map. They want the Scuttle Crab, be able to get deep vision, make sure Minky cannot get behind them, although teleport is on cooldown. Shove out all the waves in their advantage. Maybe one more shot, then I think it's going to be on.
They need to shop very soon. Legacy are pressuring the mid now. Perfection's actually there early. I love that transition just to make sure they've keeps the minion waves out from under his turret. Legacy are getting run around this map. That's not what we usually say about them in the late game.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, right now they're playing the reactionary League of Legends. You understand why the Baron buff did a lot to help Direwolves out because it looked like the game was finally going to be in their favor. Did he just sell his... No, he didn't. No. He's got Yomu.
He does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, where did the Brutalizer go? But
he got magically moved into the Yomu's. Oh, Legacy.
Death Rush set up right now. They're not moving Tremor Sense. They might actually spot Azir out there.
One Pro Seeker does find them. Smart stuff from Sybil, poking from Perfection. Dragon up 40 seconds. Big waves in top and bot though. Inhib's back in the top lane. Everything's starting to be on the line here.
This is a really tense game.
This is really tense.
And you know, everyone has completed item builds right now. Two goes in.
Finds Perfection, forced to flash out. Ulti's good. Minky in the backside. Carbon jumps in as well. First kill onto Perfection. Sybil's going to get chased down. Ulti still latches though. But Choo-Choo's fighting in. That's 2 kills for Legacy. I think that's it.
Yeah, it certainly is going to be. And how much more fitting could you get? Ju able to fly in there, get everything done for his team, and Legacy, they're going to push in, probably try and win the game.
Direwolves still pushing minions out of their base. King is doing so much work. 2 inhibs down. Legacy fighting in. King is doing everything he can. But Perfection and Sybil are dead for 50 seconds.
Yeah, and wow, on the back end, they're on the Nexus turrets.
They can't quite finish yet. Tally again a bit too far forward. But Legacy, all they have to do is be patient.
30 seconds, still very long time. Direwolves.
Tower's looking good. Ult down from Sharp. Carbon caught out. Has to be careful. King's laying in the damage.
Tally again.
Oh, Tally. So far forward, almost cost him his life, but he does not die. The Dire will somehow hold. A good hook lands on Sharp. But 20 seconds left. They have to back off. Flying Dew Court. Damage is good. It's not just enough. Chippies gets a kill with Ignite. All of a sudden, 2 Dials members are coming back. We have a power play 5v4 now.
Oh my god, he flashes in.
He goes through. Can't finish the kill into Choo Choo's though. Dragon is still alive. Tally forced to ultimate. What is
got
this game?
as well. There's a turret.
Oh my god, they're burning down the Dragon. 4th Dragon goes to Legacy. Carbon gets caught though. Arrows in his back. Binding lands. King gets a kill.
Yeah, and they've all of a sudden got a flank. Legacy hit B. Oh, they will get back, it looks like it.
They have to get back. King's hopping in. He wants to cancel. Flashes forward. Gets one. Finds Tally. He's going to go in for the 1v1. Sharp in there as well. Makes it an unfair fight. 3 kills now to Direwolves.
I am so confused.
Me too. Perfection, he can't lead, by the way. He's forced to stop 2 Superman waves from pushing in, so now Direwolves can only push through the bottom.
Yeah, so they're trying to get up there. There's still 3 members dead. Trying to push in and take an inhibitor of their own. Sybil's quite tanky, but they ping it back.
Yeah, they can't. It's too risky. Choo Choo's damage too good. Minky engaged too hard. King hops over. He'll take the Wolves for his trouble. Baron up in 20 seconds. Blue buff going to get stolen away here. They'll clear out a ward as well, perhaps. No. Too dangerous to even do that. Oh my god, are the no, they're not. I thought they were going to try and backdoor.
10 seconds until Baron. Direwolves yet again not in position to be able to contest this one probably. Double inhibitors down. This should be Legacy's fight, but if anything's taught me, if this game's taught me anything, like Direwolves got this in the bag.
Direwolves looking good so far. King is full build. Perfection is full build.
Minky just altered nothing.
Finds Chippies, eats a binding. Minky, why? Why did you ultimate?
He wanted efficiency to get the ward placement.
Minky, that's not correct. I'm sorry. You're so big. He has a thorn mail.
I don't know whether Direwolves saw it, so
oh my
they
god,
might be able to be mind gamed off
starting
this.
Baron. Where's King? Perfection's here. What is this?
Tallywhack is in base.
What is this? Direwolves starting the Baron. I don't know about this. They're going to try it.
King knows.
He wants it. He really wants it. He's diving in. Sybil's there as well. They're committing everything here. Ulti goes down for Sharp. Exhaust down onto King. Perfection's round the side. Mickey in the back though. Sharp pops his Zonias. Mickey might go down. Carbon gets shot. The Baron's still low. Mickey going to go down. King's still alive. Just Perfection kiting, but he is going to go down. Tallywhacker going off. King goes down. A double kill for Nunu. Sybil going to fall. Baron, I think, went to Legacy. And that finally might be it, but I said that last time.
Yeah, we certainly did. You know, this time they get 4 for 1. Only Minky Whale going down. Ultimate back off cooldown, by the way, and it looks like Legacy will clean this one up.
Yeah, Legacy just at the last few seconds. Gonna push in to finish the game, but the Direwolves held on for so long with such a mid-game comp. Legacy, between Minky's ulti at the end and a bit of fuffing around there in the mid, that was much closer than it should have been, it feels like.
Yeah, it certainly would, but in the end, Legacy pick up the win. They get outright second. And Direwolves, they're starting to impress yet again, but this time with Chippies in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Chippies in the bottom side on the Morgana. Level on Rome looks good. King and Perfection on 80 carries, almost carried the game through to the very end. Very impressive.
Yeah, it certainly was. Tally had a really good game down in the bottom lane, was able to get ahead, went melee mode a couple of times, and I guess extended the epicness of what that game was. Minky Whale yet again on Hecarim. I think that is a ban Direwolves have to look at now in future, but across the board, very solid League of Legends.
And I have to think if the Direwolves maybe tried to go for late game teamfight as well, that game would have been even crazier.
Yeah, exactly right. Imagine if they were running something like a Cassin in the mid lane there, just looking to clean up all those team fights, because there was quite a few extended ones, and Perfection, he was able to do a lot of work on the Varus. We kept mentioning mid-game it should be falling away. Didn't seem to. And yeah, in the end, it was just a really good shot call coming through from Legacy to make sure that they were prioritizing the right objectives.
Yeah, some of the experience coming up nicely. Definitely some interesting shot calling back and forth there. That was a tricky game to be in, though.
Yeah, it certainly was. You know, Direwolves thought that 5th Dragon was going to be the next big objective. Legacy were just able to take the Baron away, though, and from there tip the game back on its head.
Yeah, an insanely epic game there, but we are going to pop outside. Before we do, though, let's get a little bit more from Legacy in that crazy game.
Come on, Baron, let's get into
Varus down, Varus down.
Varus
down, Varus down.
Alright,
go.
Yeah, go. I'm just killing the front line.
Rumble.
Rek'Sai stuck in the pit.
Rek'Sai stuck in the pit.
Closer.
Baron. I got the Baron.
Nice.
Wait, Kalista.
Oh, good job.
Rek'Sai. And come on, boys, yes!
Fuck me.
Yeah.
What a ridiculous game, ladies and gentlemen. So great to hear from Legacy in their victorious team fight. But man, Rusty, I didn't know what to talk about this game because the whole thing was like an undulating mass of who knows what is going to happen next. It was so close.
It came down to the wire. There were situations where we thought both teams were going to pull it back. Legacy find the pick. They get an inhibitor. Suddenly, Direwolves, they don't lose a whole lot. In fact, they find picks of their own. Turn it around for the 5th Dragon. Did not come to fruition. Legacy smartly taking that one for their lives. And I mean, what do you even say about that besides a cluster of confusing awesomeness?
Yeah, and both of these team comps had clear ideas about what they wanted to do here, and we are going to bring up our first replay. It is going to be the first Baron attempt that went down here for Direwolves, but things didn't necessarily go so well, and this is off the back of a great dive that the Direwolves managed to do. They managed to collect the inner turret there in the mid lane as well, but then things kind of fell apart for this team.
Yeah, they didn't have enough health to really commit to this Baron too much. So before we start the clip, keep in mind everyone has all of their spells available essentially from the side of Legacy. A very risky proposition to actually go for this Baron. So we'll roll the clip through and just notice Minky starts it off, hitting a phenomenal ultimate. And the talking point of this is always going to be Choo-Choo's. When this Azir comes in, that is ridiculous. Keeping them all in the pit on top of Hecarim, on top of Minky Whale, who just does so much work. And Legacy, they're running a team fight composition. They play this team fight absolutely how it's meant to go for them. Choo-Choo's getting the engage, not being focused. Tallywhacker pretty much untouched the entire time. And again, as a team fight comp, being able to win a big team fight like that around the Baron put them in what was a very commanding position almost.
Yeah, and it's like it's almost like they're trying to run this sort of short range but heavy AoE type team comp as well. What with the Ricochet from Sivir, you've got the Sand Soldier auto attacks, which of course do AoE damage, but not necessarily in the hugest area. And you saw just there how incredibly effective that can be when you trap a team in the likes of a Baron pit. But it didn't necessarily work out every single time because when the Direwolves managed to get their poke working, things were fine for them. That's why this game was so close.
That's right. Direwolves managing to make the picks on the back of their top side heavy team comp, finding all of the rumble equalizers on top of the chains, getting all of the relevant picks, turning around bad situations. And Legacy, you're right, they're running the Sivir, as Spawn mentioned, is basically in melee range the entire game.
Yeah.
Trying to do as much work for the team as possible. Didn't often work out, but when it did come through, it came through massive.
Well, yeah, and Tallywhacker had a gigantic score that game as well, really putting the team as effectively on his back as he possibly can. But it wasn't sort of working out fantastically every single time. We are going to bring up the final team fight though, and man, this was the Direwolves going for what can only be described as that desperation Baron. I don't even necessarily know whether they needed to. Everything was so incredibly close. Within 2,000 gold at 51 minutes into the game,
yeah,
that is nothing at all. There was 6 items on basically everyone, and at this point, I didn't know who was going to be able to take this one, but this was a risky Baron.
Yeah, so this fight essentially came down to the desperation Baron decision, but the whole 5 minutes prior to this actually happening was just unreal. Everyone just fighting left, right, and center. Picks almost dying. Everyone almost dying multiple times, but we'll roll the clip through, and Direwolves, as they force down this Baron, you'll find King definitely committing to it, wants that Baron super bad, but the whole time, Chippies finds himself poked way too low from the Azir, has to use that Fate's Call to keep him alive, and Perfection zoned, everyone zoned, while Sharp goes down super quickly. The Hecarim scaling so badly got them to that late stage, and now King, Perfection, they find themselves in the face of this Legacy side. who have just ramped up, and the way that they played their team fight around their zone control of the Nunu Absolute Zero, of the Thresh hitting hooks, and just of the fact that Hecarim essentially outscaling a Rumble in terms of tanking capabilities, played to Legacy's strengths so well.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I just want to shout out to Flying Jew here as well, who death sentenced his way in and set up the box at exactly the right point. But we do have our casters